Hey, everybody. Welcome to Cincinnati Real Producers Podcast, powered by Next Door Photos. I'm Patrick Braddock, owner and publisher of Cincinnati Real Producers.
And I'm Daniel Ziegler, owner of Next Door Photos. Every week, we're getting to know Cincinnati's top realtors.
Our goal is to elevate and inspire the real estate community throughout Greater Cincinnati.
All right, well, today we have Holly Maloney, the team lead for the Maloney Group, brokered by EXP Realty. Holly is in her 20th year selling real estate, and her career sales volume is over $350 million. In 2023 alone, her team's volume was over $16 million. Holly was named Realtor of the Year in 2019 by the Realtor Alliance of Greater Cincinnati, and she was named a Woman of Influence by Venue magazine in 2019. Holly has been a Circle of Excellence recipient every year since 2004, and she's a 6-time Icon agent at EXP. Welcome to the show, Holly Maloney.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure.
So excited to be here.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you.
I remember when we first met, it was at your office over on the west side, and it was like a week later, you were the Realtor of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, crap, man, I just had this conversation. I was like, why can't I was like, now I got to go back there and be like, all right, we got to rearrange this article. We got to do all this stuff. So
I wasn't allowed to tell at that time when I met with you.
How long had you known before they made that announcement?
I knew right before Christmas.
Oh,
And
really?
and the awards is usually in the first part of February.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had to keep it under wraps.
Gosh.
Yeah.
You could have let that cat out of the bag just once.
I
but
know.
That was awesome. Congratulations on all
Thank
your
you.
success.
Yeah, that was a wonderful surprise and just very humbled by receiving that out of 6,500 agents at the board.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's a testament to not just who, the business that you run, but the person that you are. Like there's a lot of people that I've run into over the course of the last 6 years that have had a lot of really great things to say about you.
Oh, nice.
Not just as a real estate agent, but as a person, so it's like, it makes it easy to work with somebody who's very likable like that, So it didn't surprise me. I was just a little upset that you didn't share with me when we talked. So.
I didn't let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. Well, speaking of the board, I love how involved you are with the board, and I think that's where we originally met.
Yeah, we met at the board.
Yeah. So, in just this week, I've seen you 3 times.
Well, it's one of those things. Real estate has been wonderful for me. It's been a wonderful career. And like I tell my son who's in the business, Andrew, with me, you have to give back.
Sure.
You have to give back. So I sit on a lot of committees. I'm always eager to help. I'm also a coach, a real estate coach as well. I love mentoring new agents because that's what just gets me so excited when I see how well they do. Mm-hmm. So I love helping other people in this career that I love.
Sure.
That's awesome.
You have like Ruthie, who we featured her as on the rise agent. Andrew's been an on the rise agent. Like, there's a lot of people that you have, mentored and helped coach throughout the years that just so happen to be featured in, a top producing real estate magazine. So good job on the coaching side
Thank
too.
you.
There's a common denominator there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love doing. That's what I love to do. So
That's fantastic.
Well, take us back to 2004. You got into the business.
Mm-hmm.
What did life look like before that?
Well, my little journey, my story to get here is I worked at Fifth Third Bank.
Okay.
And I always tell everybody I retired the first time after Andrew was born. And I was a stay-at-home mom all these years, except for a lot of people don't know about this. It's kind of funny. I sold Tupperware.
Oh, really?
And I was like a top Tupperware agent. I drove a new van every 2 years, got a new van.
Oh, wow.
And loved that, loved the people that I worked with. But when my kids went back to grade school, or when they were in grade school, I needed to go back and find a job. And I kept getting them. I kept applying and getting for jobs, and I would freak out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't justify to anybody when my children are sick. I have 5 children. I was blessed to be able to stay home all those years, and I just didn't want to give up the things that I did.
Sure.
And I talked all about this in my speech in 2019 when I was Realtor of the Year, how real estate, I was going to get in. My husband's uncle, Charlie Dean at Huff Realty, he's still there. He's the one that said to me, you should you should really think about real estate. So I thought, oh, I could do this and sell 1 or 2 houses a year, and it'll be fine. It'll be great. So I did, and like my husband will tell you, I don't do anything just half. Sure. I had to jump all in, and I went from, owning my own brokerage and starting Huff, owning my own brokerage. But I still had the flexibility to be the room mom, to be the hot lunch lady, to be able to do all the things with my children. And my kids will tell you today, I rarely missed anything with them. I was always at school, but they were always appointments.
Right.
I never told my clients I couldn't because I had to go to a room party, at school. It was always, I had an appointment, I could go later. And my clients didn't mind that. I still serve them. Some weeks I worked way more than 40 hours a week, most, but it was around my schedule and my kids. Right, so It has been a wonderful career. And that's what everybody always says to me, should I get in this? I have kids. I heard you have to work every weekend, every night. Real estate has changed more in the last 5 years than it has the whole time I've been doing real estate. So it's a great career for a family. Yeah. And I never missed out. And I was always home with my kids sick. And, so it's been a blessing. Sure. And, that has been my greatest accomplishment with my 5 children.
5 kids. Wow. My gosh. I have 3. How many kids do you have?
3.
Okay, we both have 3 kids. I don't know about you, dude, but on a daily basis, I'm drowning. 5 kids? 5 kids sounds so hard to me.
Well, I will tell you both. So you each have 3. It's the 3rd one that throws you over the edge. Anything after 3, it doesn't matter because, you got 1 or 2, and you got 2, you got 1 for each of you. Right. You got the 3rd, it throws you over. Anything after that doesn't matter. It's just organized chaos.
That's right. Once you're outnumbered, you're outnumbered.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
That's awesome.
That's what I've heard, but still terrifies me.
Yeah. So moving into real estate in those early years, what was your goal like when the first 3 to 5 years getting into real estate? Like where did you see yourself? I know you mentioned the few houses a year, but based on the person that you are, the person that I know, and the reputation you have in this city, I find it hard to believe that over the course of 3 to 5 years, you maintained only a few houses a year. And didn't just gradually see that
didn't
just go to,
that didn't last. When I started in 2004, I was actually new agent of the year. Wow. Like I said, I started Huff Realty. I just love what I did because real estate is a social job. Right. And I had a lot of friends. What you see with me is what you get. I'm like this in my personal life and my business life. So I was just going to do a couple just to supplement the income while my kids were at school. It went on, when I started 2004, it wasn't like it was in 2020 and 2021 when people got in and you didn't have to do anything. In 2004, I barely even knew how to use a computer, right? And get my email. And, I remember the days that the Blackberries came out and, I could tell stories all day long about, relocation. And, I always tell Andrew and a lot of the new agents how easy, because you've got your Waze on your phones to find where you're at. I would do house hunting with some of my relo clients from P&G, and I would have MapQuest. And I would go from house to house, and they would decide, and they would be in my car, and they would decide that, we could pass up this house. And I would be like, oh, we have to go by there because I can't get to the next house without. So things have changed. So I quickly, like I said, I evolved. The market took a turn in 2007, 2008. Foreclosures were up, short sales. So I muddled my way through my first short sale because I figured if I'm going to stay in this business, I needed to have some more services that I could do. So I learned how to do a short sale. I had a company with 2 other agents at Huff, and we were 3 blondes and a short sale.
Wow.
And we were a national company. Our big hotspot was Florida and Vegas. And we would short sale houses all around the United States for people and for other brokers here in our area. I remember going into, some other offices, not my office, and meet with the agent, and the agent would be like, here's my partner, and we would take care of the short sale, and these agents could list the property and we would take care of everything else. We had a whole big business at that time. And you just, in the markets, you just need to adapt with what's going on. So I kind of muddled my way through that and owned my own brokerage. I was a part owner in a brokerage and then sold that back in 2017. And that's when I landed at EXP over 6 years ago.
Wow.
And we'll probably never, ever go anywhere else.
6 years already at EXP.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah, it's funny because when I started down here and I had the announcement, everybody was, because we are in the Midwest, so things don't happen. And, there were less than 5,000 agents in the whole world when I joined. And now, fast forward today, there's 95,000 agents. But everybody was congratulating me on opening my own brokerage.
Right, because they never heard of
it. I'm just an agent, which I love doing that because it gives me the freedom and the flexibility.
Yeah. Well, there was I think it was 3 years ago, it was just a massive push into EXP. I feel like there was a boom in this area where you saw some larger teams moving, like the Hildebrands, and then some other people that were big wigs, and just the ripple effect of that moving over to EXP. So talk about EXP for a minute, because there's a lot to promote on the business aspect of that. I know that we want to talk about you, but what do you love about that model, and what do you find to be the most attractive for a real estate agent about that?
What I love about the model is I kept hearing about it because I've been a speaker up at Inman in New York several years, and I kept hearing about it. And it's always when, you hear these brokers popping up and it sounds too good to be true. And then I started researching into it, and it was my financial advisor that said, this is a no-brainer. You're doing what you would do at any company, because you can go to any broker and negotiate a split. At our broker, everybody's on the same split. Even, I think his name is, he's on HGTV. He's with EXP.
Oh, really?
And he's on the same split that I am, which is great. So what I love about EXP is because it kind of gives me an exit plan. Not that I'll ever exit, because I love what I do. But a lot of realtors, they don't have any savings. They work from deal to deal, and they are working well into their 80s to sell the next house, because once you build up this legacy and you've built up what you do, when you sell your last house, you have no money coming in.
Right.
With EXP, it's a different model because I get stock. I'm gifted stock. Like you said, Daniel, I'm a 6-time icon at EXP, been there 6 years. And basically what that means is I've been gifted $16,000 every year of stock.
Wow.
Just for doing what I do. And I get stock on every first transaction, and I can buy stock. I also have a revenue share that is a monthly income generator. It's just I have a lot of different revenue streams coming in other than real estate, and it has changed my husband and our life, and we're able to let Andrew handle a lot more of the business,
Sure.
Andrew and Ruthie, and go away and do things like that because we have other revenue streams.
Well, you don't have that thought in the back of your mind, will we ever be able to retire if we want? What's the common saying in real estate? You never retire, you just die.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
You never stop working. But this actually gives you an opportunity, if you wanted to pass on everything on to Andrew or whoever and say, all right, we're gonna actually enjoy our retirement.
And the way that Glenn Sanford made this model, it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Sure.
I get to do what I love in real estate and be, a 1099 employee and an entrepreneurial, but it's also like working at a corporate job and getting benefits.
Yeah.
So much to where, it's all willable to my children, which is great because the legacy that I built, even when I'm gone, will be able to be passed on. We've got a trust set up, and it goes to our children. So those were my big decisions. I love all the brokers here in Cincinnati, and I could have went with anyone, but that was my personal decision, and it was best for my family.
That's awesome. So you're taking off. The short sales take off. You get back into the normal real estate once the market kind of flattens out and gets back to its new norm in what 2011, 2012, and you start to take off from there. At what point did you drag your husband into this business? Because it's officially a family business now. I know at one point you got so busy, like either he or you looked at each other like, hey, I need help. Or you need help.
I have been saying that I need help. And it was always, luckily, Tom and I love to be together because, a lot of couples couldn't work together 23 hours a day because we're always together. Sometimes I just need to drive. I know. But it was always our desire to work together. So when our last son graduated from high school, it was a perfect timing. He just decided to, because he carried all of our insurance and everything. But now we have insurance through EXP, again, another benefit. So he officially joined probably around 8 years ago, which was wonderful. And then Andrew, his story, he took his classes 7 years ago before he even, before 2020. And he was off doing experiential marketing. He did the Blink, Kroger, P&G. And when he got laid off during COVID, he came in and I said, why don't you take your test?
Right.
So he did. And, and he does very well. And he, like he says, that's his journey to get there. So it is officially, and Ruthie actually worked in the paper marketing printing side, and she knew my husband. So I met Ruthie through my husband.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's been doing really well too. You guys just have a great group of people. Like a lot of people, there's not one, there's not one rotted apple in the bunch. I just really enjoy. Forget about brokerage or anything like that. I just really enjoy your group. Like you guys do everything the right way. And it's such a great example for people who want to grow a team or a type of group or anything like that. It's a great model for them to look at you and say, hey, how do we get there? So, and the fact that you'd be willing to say, let me show you,
Absolutely.
that's what I think is a huge testament to you. So,
so many realtors are very private and they don't like to share. I will share anything. I'll open up. People call me all the time and I'll share, things that I've done, things that worked, things that didn't, because if I can, I always tell people if I tell you to get in the car and go to Florida, you'll get there eventually. But if I give you the roadmap, you're going to get there a lot quicker.
That's awesome.
For sure. Yeah. So I'm curious, when you got in the business, you, a lot of what drew you to real estate was the flexibility and the freedom that, allowed you to spend time with your family, your growing family. Things look different now. No kids at home. So I think there's still the freedom aspect of, being able to travel and stuff that you're enjoying. Is that your why? Like, what is your why now? What does that look like for you?
My why is still the same from when I started. It's my family.
Yeah.
I love spending time with my family and I love to travel. I love being with my friends. I do girls trips. Things like that is really important. And I love to cook. I love to cook. I'm a good cook. All of my children are very good cooks. And, that's my why. My family is my why. I've got a son who lives out of state and we're able to go, every 6 weeks and go stay with him and his girlfriend. And,
that's awesome.
That's the things that make me tick.
Yeah. What's your favorite food to cook?
Oh my gosh. I like to cook anything. And I don't use recipes. I just kind of, if everybody asks me my recipe.
You're a good cook.
So,
Good.
So on Tuesday, we're having a Fat Tuesday, and I'm making jambalaya at the office. You have to stop over, yeah.
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
Some jambalaya.
All right, so let's talk. You've got your office over in Sailor Park. Born and raised West Sider, or?
Born and raised West Sider in Sailor Park, 5th generation in Sailor Park.
What's the main question that everybody asks in Cincinnati? Where'd you go to high school? I went to Western Hills High School. Okay.
I was a cheerleader. I met my husband. He went to Elder. And, Elder and West High at that time did not even mix, and that was against everything. And we got together, and actually all of our boys went to Elder and loved the experience there.
That's
and
awesome.
My daughter went to Seton. Yeah.
My dad's an Elder grad.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So is my father-in-law. Yeah.
Really? He grew up on the west side. We didn't live in Cincinnati, but we always came down. He'd just take us to the pit.
Oh,
Show us the pit. And
yeah.
so I played football back in the 60s. I was like, all right, Dad, all right, we gotcha.
Our youngest played football as well. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's very fun. And that's, trying to find when you have 3 little ones, you're so busy. And I always tell everybody, enjoy those years, because one Friday night we're used to going to football and doing everything, all of a sudden it's over and it goes so fast.
Yeah.
And so, you got to find something else to fill your time.
Yeah.
So true.
It is true. And Andrew has shared with me before just his love for Sailor Park. You've lived there all your life. What do you love about Sailor Park? Because there's a lot of people, I think, in Cincinnati.
It's a beautiful little area.
It's kind of like tucked
really
away. A lot of people may not have made it there.
A lot of people doesn't know that they don't know that it's there. Like I said, I'm 5th generation down in Sailor Park. It's a little hidden gem, and I can get to anywhere in about 20 minutes. I can get downtown, I can get to the airport, I can get to Indiana, over Kentucky. So that's why I'm licensed in both states. It's just a very quaint, most people have lived there generation to generation. A lot of houses sell word of mouth down there. We own the building where our office is in, and we lease out the Sailor Park Coffee, which it's been a lot of fun. I'm also the chair of the business district down there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been fun, seeing that grow and doing things and working with the village council. So we've got a lot of really cool things. So I love to give back to my community, and because I have the time. And, like we talked about with the board, these are places where I live. These are places where I work, my profession. And so I'll always help get on a board, and do what I can.
That's awesome.
Giving back. It is awesome.
Where do you guys see yourselves going, like in the next 5 years? Like, what do you want to do with the business? Obviously, you've been established for 20 years at this point. You have the ability down the road to eventually retire if you want. I think it's safe to say that that's definitely not on the forefront anytime soon. But like, where do you see yourself growing? The group, the team. Any expansion thoughts over the next few years, or what are you thinking?
We have a nice team. I'm not one that has the desire to grow a huge team. I like it small, personal, and manageable.
Sure.
So like you said, I will probably never retire because I love what I do.
That's great.
I would like to start handing things off more, to be able to coach more, spend more of my time coaching new agents. I love to do that. So I'd like to get more into the coaching. I travel around with EXP. I'm going to Louisiana to speak at the rally, and I have a lot of different speaking engagements that I'm getting into more. So that's where I would like to go and keep my team and just keep the business growing. We're one of those teams, I don't buy a lot of leads. I don't do the Zillow and all of that. I've tried that before. And those people, usually on Zillow, they're just looking for a body that's fast, that can show a house. I tell new agents, I do heavy marketing our team to our sphere, to our family and friends, because those are the people that know, love, and trust us.
Right.
So I like to continue to give love to my sphere and my friends, because I wouldn't be where I'm at without my family and friends and my clients. Our team is 98% all referral based, which is a lot being said to sell, and me personally, over 100 houses a year.
Wow.
Based on that. I'd go on listing appointments, but a lot of times it's just, a past client, and they're ready to list the house. They know that, I'm going to take care of them. I'm not going to pass them off to somebody else on my team, and they'll never ever talk to me again. That, sometimes you get so big and you don't ever see that person.
Sure. Great.
I still have a lot of my friends want me to meet with their children and sell their children a house. And I've not got to that point to where I will even pass that on, because they have the confidence in me and they want me to, to work with their child, and I don't want to disappoint them. So
That's wonderful.
I love what I do, so it's easy to.
Sure.
Well, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to talk about?
I don't think so. Like I said, I market to my sphere. That's important. Any new agents or anybody that's listening, if you came into the business, there's a lot of agents getting out of the business right now, which is
It's a
okay
huge
with
drop
me.
off right now.
Yeah,
They're
and that's
probably
okay with me.
Types of people who aren't selling a lot of homes anyways, right?
That came into the market when, but if they're an agent that came into the market and you were just the order taker and, you didn't have to find houses. And we had all this stuff with the MLS too, that was, harder to find houses for people, they're not going to call you. Go back to the basics, belly to belly, talk to these clients, call them up. Things have gotten really easy with dot loop and text messaging and things like that. But sometimes just a phone call, go back to the basics, a letter, let people know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where this market's headed. And it always comes around and goes around in cycles. But, you could do things on the internet, but people still want that people-to-people interaction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So important.
Well, on the topic of advice, we'd like to ask your advice for buyers and sellers in the market today. But before we do, we're very grateful to Back to Back Ministries, whose studio that we're in. And so we wanted to give just a quick shout out to them. So Back to Back Ministries is a global nonprofit orphan care organization with their sights set on providing care for today and hope for every tomorrow. From Cincinnati, Ohio to Hyderabad, India, staff teams around the world are stepping into hard stories and choosing to stay. To learn more about the work Back to Back does, how you can get involved, and why a global team won't stop until every child is known and loved, visit backtoback.org today.
Thank you, Back to Back.
Yes, thank you.
It's a wonderful studio they let us use, and Daniel's got the personal connection by working here for 6 years.
Yep, about 6 years.
Sounds like a good organization.
Yeah, it really is.
Phenomenal.
So we appreciate them.
Yeah. But with that said, what advice would you offer? I mean, this market is so unique, and it's been a roller coaster for years now, but I mean, every year seems to have brought a different challenge these past couple of years. So what advice would you offer to buyers and sellers?
And it changes. So,
it'll
like
probably
you said,
change next month.
Yeah. It changes so much, and there's so much going on. And and they're coming back down.
Yeah.
So, when we bought our house, it was 9%. So, and we're all everybody's so spoiled with the 2 and the 3%. Mm-hmm. And my advice to any seller, any buyer is to get you a real estate agent, get you a full-time real estate agent, somebody that does this all the time, that knows what's going on, that just doesn't need a paycheck. Mm-hmm. You want somebody that's going to inform you. Sometimes, I went on a listing appointment, just for example, really quick. I went on a listing appointment years ago with an older woman, and that's when you never wanted to be the first listing agent, because listings sat on the market and, they would reduce them. So I was the third listing agent that went in, and I sat down with this woman, and she was an older woman, and I asked her, I said, okay, what are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to accomplish? Well, what she wanted to do was buy a condo in this specific area. She only owed $50,000 on her house. She had a first floor bedroom, but it was a Cape Cod. She never went upstairs, but she didn't want to do yard work or anything. Well, we did the numbers. I ended up not listing it, and she ended up not moving, because it was cheaper for her. When I told her the prices of the condo that she wanted to buy, she would be paying more than if she would have hired somebody to cut her grass. Mm-hmm. So I found somebody to take care of the lawn for her that she paid, and she didn't move for like 7 years.
Wow.
And then called me back. And you want somebody that's going to trust, not somebody that just wants to sell your house. Yeah. And she said to me, nobody ever asked me that. Everybody just wanted to sell my house. Mm-hmm. And, I want to make it right for you. And that's how I get my repeat business. I'm not going to sell you anything that I wouldn't buy myself or sell my own children.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So get with somebody that knows the market, is a full-time real estate agent, that's going to have your best interest in mind, that you're going to see, that's going to follow up, that's going to do more than just take pictures, which we use Daniel all the time, because, for any there's a lot of agents that use just their cell phone. And, get somebody.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy. And for $1 million listings, I see, get somebody that's going to represent you as selling your house, or a buyer. Because as a buyer, it's free to have buyer representation. And you don't want to buy somewhere that if you have to leave in 2 years, you're underwater.
Right.
So get somebody that's a professional. Interview agents, get a full-time agent, get somebody that knows the business.
Yeah.
I love that story. You are truly a trusted advisor, which is what all real estate agents should be in that instance, rather than just focusing on what you were brought in to talk about. It's like, wait, let's get to the root of this and really figure out what is the right solution for you. That is amazing customer service. I don't think I've heard a story like that.
It's like the epitome of relational over transactional,
Well, it is. And like I said, I want to treat, I always tell people my biggest complaint in real estate is I need an extra 2 or 3 days a week just to do social things with my clients, because I get invited to baby showers and first communions and birthday parties and everything. And, it all started with my very first client. And I still remember her today. Her name was Wilma Gilbert. And
shout out Wilma.
I know. She's passed since then, but her daughters are still around.
Shout out to the family.
Yeah. And so she quilted me, made me a beautiful quilt. And, she told me that I was the only real estate agent that would ever tell her not to sell her house.
That's awesome.
Because her daughters were fighting over which way she should use cash-wise. And I'm like, if it's going to tear your family up, don't do it. So it just comes back to be the person that you want your parents or your friends or who you want to work with.
That's awesome.
Seriously, that was amazing. Gosh, I feel like I could talk to you all day, but
I know it's a very fine balance of personal and business. Like, we don't want to skew one way or the other. If we do, we want to go more personal, because that's what your clients want to hear about. Clients don't necessarily care about, and that's why I really like the EXP model too. Clients don't really care about, the brokerage or the numbers or anything like that. They care about the person that they're working with, so it's like, Holly Maloney could be in the Moon brokerage, based out of Jupiter, and as long as it's Holly Maloney, I'm still working with her, right? So it's like,
because that's what real estate, it doesn't matter which broker you're with. You're the one that services the clients. They never meet your broker. You service the clients, you take care of them, and you're the business owner. You're the business owner.
That's awesome.
And like I said, it's easy for me to talk all day too, because when you love what you do, it's easy to talk about it.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, I really appreciate you, because you've supported our platform with Real Producers, obviously supported Daniel, and I just you're just a really great mentor, not just to real estate agents but to anybody in business. So we look up to you from a Real Producer standpoint, and follow your business very closely, because it's truly what real estate should be. So thank you for being a leader in this city, in this area, this tri-state, and all of your success is just so well deserved, and you're so humble about everything. So thank you for being you. So we really appreciate
thank you both for what you do. I love working with Daniel and Patrick. Keep spotlighting, because there's a lot of amazing agents around.
If you keep sending them our way, we keep featuring them. So you let me know.
There's a lot of great agents. I'm lucky to be amongst working with some of these people.
That's awesome.
Yep, I agree.
Well, thank you for being a part of our podcast today, and can't wait to see what the future holds.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Me neither.
All right.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Thanks, Holly. Thanks for listening to the Cincinnati Real Producers Podcast, powered by Nextdoor Photos. We do this every week, so be sure to subscribe so you can follow along. If you liked our conversation, leave us a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts.